Good morning, everybody. This is Yin Yang with Morsels of a Thought number 1111. 1111 is a strobogram and a palindrome. This is the last time I'm going to see a palindrome that's a strobogram in ASCII. It means 16 in ASCII for 8,889 more live shows. Imagine that. So when we reach 10,000, that'll be another ASCII. But other than that, we'll never see another ASCII. It'll always have a 2 in it instead of a 1 or a 0. An ASCII number is something that's only got a number in ones and zeros. And there's a whole thing about that. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about quotes on due process. I just thought that it would be a good idea to talk about the topic. And I am going to look for quotes here that match my thinking, except for, when it gives me the thing that says turn off ads, then I don't have the quotes anymore. So I'm on the computer right now. Due process. It's from enwikiquote.org. Says due process is the principle of government that must respect all of the legal rights that are owed to a person according to the law. Due process holds the government subservient to the law of the land, protecting individual persons from the state. When a government harms a person without following the exact course of the law, then that is a due process violation which offends the rule of law. So basically what it's saying is that you have to give everybody a chance. Martin Luther King Journal. azquotes.com says, in Martin Luther King Jr., injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality tied in a single garment of destiny. Oscar Arias, Arias, says, it is essential that justice be done, and it is equally vital that justice not be confused with revenge, for the two are wholly different, completely different. Blaise Pascal said, justice without force is powerless. Force without justice is tyrannical. Publilius Syrus says, he who spares the bad injures the good. I remember reading that in my first 10 ever lives. Aristotle said, at his best, man is the noblest of all animals. Separated from law and justice, he is the worst. Margaret Mead, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And the small group has to follow a big rule. Martin Luther King Jr. said, the hope of a secure and livable world lies with disciplined nonconformists who are dedicated to justice, peace, and brotherhood. Haile Selassie says, throughout history, it has been the inaction of those who could have acted, the indifference of those who should have known better, the silence of the voice of justice when it mattered most, that has made it possible for evil to triumph. Lewis F. Powell Jr. says, equal justice under law is not merely a caption on the facade of the Supreme Court building. It is perhaps the most inspiring ideal of our society. It is one of the ends for which our entire legal system exists. It is fundamental that justice should be the same in substance and availability without regard to economic status. Lewis F. Powell Jr. He was talking about people who are wealthy being able to circumvent the law. It happens with people who are the right people. Pope, that's what they call it, the right people. We want to see the right people around here. I have a story about this. In 1996, I was residing in Menlo Park in a regular apartment that was mold filled, and it was the carpet was 29 years old or 30 years old, and I was paying a lot of money for that apartment. It was prior to the bubble. It was already extraordinary. It was exorbitant rent. And when the building was sold, it was being sold by a couple that didn't get along, whose new wife or ex-wife was managing the building. So the previous wife was feeling really, badly taken advantage of, and she couldn't sell because it used to be where her mother used to live. Well, she finally was able to sell. It was right in the middle of the dot-com boom. The housing bubble was just starting, and instead of paying I started out with 895, and then it went up to 1100, and then they tried to charge, and this was a place that was only 500 square feet, so I was paying more than $2 a square foot. And this is 1996. So then they sold the place, and as I was driving home, I was parking my car. I had two parking spots. One was an open garage, and the other was the driveway. They had no doors to the garages. And so I was backing into my spot in the garage because that's what I do. I back in. And then a woman walked by and gave me a glare like I was the wrong skin color. She was French. Um, and the people prior to that were, I don't know, they were Caucasian. And I went back in my house, and I knew that this was the new owner who had been able to do a walkthrough that day, because the new owners, well, she wasn't the owner yet. She was just a prospective buyer, but we already knew that they were planning to buy it, and they were serious because they wanted to go in to see every single apartment. They had put out a bid or something. So then they decided to raise my rent from 895 to 1100 to 1200 to 1550 for a 500 square foot apartment. And they knew that I would have paid it if I had been happier. But I said, no, this isn't good. This is constructive eviction. They're doing it to me, to the Jewish pair, the other people that were not of, the right descent. And there were only two Asians. I was one Asian, and the ex-boyfriend was another Asian in a different apartment in the same complex. And I moved out. And after I moved out, they tore out the carpet and they polished the hardwood floors underneath, and laminated the hardwood floors. And I walked over there one time because my ex-boyfriend was still living there. I walked past and I saw the new tenant, and I said, "Hi, I used to live in there. How much are they charging you for rent?" He said, 1200. I said, 1200? You talked them down? He said, no, they offered it for 1200. This is called constructive eviction. In California, it was illegal for them to do that. And ever since that time, my blood pressure went up, never came back down. And that was 30 years ago. And only recently in the last 1 year has my blood pressure gone back down. But Zia, Fira, Fatima, come on up here. Stop playing with that. Come on. What do you have hanging out of your mouth? What's that? What's that? What is that? Come on. Come on. Come on up. Come on up. Come on up. Come on. 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 Good girl. Good girl. This This is little Fatima, Fira Fatima. I remember her name as Zia sometimes because in that very same apartment complex where the people were across from me, they eventually moved to Oregon, but they were being asked to pay the same amounts as I was, except for their apartment was 800 square feet. Mine was 500 square feet, and that's a big difference. So, justice, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Okay, that's all I wanted to say, really. We'll just play with little kitty cat now. I'll see you tomorrow. Old Kinderhook. Bye.